Hey everybody. Well, back for another round. And today I want to talk a little bit about communication. Whew. And this one's for the husbands. Or, my fathers, whatever. I was a husband and a father. I'd like to talk about something. All right. Well, we know there's a lot of pressure in the situation. And there's a lot of pressure in a marriage anyway. I mean, just because it's two people trying to live a life together, and that's hard. I mean, it's wonderful. It's hard. Thank goodness we have each other, right? So, let's get right to it. There's a lot of pressure when you're trying to raise a family, raise kids, and all of that. And then when you get special needs coming on, they're like special needs. That's even harder. So I talked a bit about, I think in the Built to be Dismantled episode, about communication and your spouse and working it out with them, figuring things out. Guys, there's a very dangerous thing happening here. An unhappy woman, an unhappy mother, an unhappy wife. They might look for happiness other places. You might want to think about that, because there's some real needs that need to be met. And I realize, well, there are needs that need to be met. And sometimes when things are really difficult and you have a partner, a lot of times we can take that difficulty, superimpose it onto that partner, and then create a distance from that partner. Look, I'm no shrink and I'm not very good at all of that, but it does seem to be the case a lot of times. Here we go. So, you might imagine that mom and dad, myself and my wife at the time were, this is the time before we really got traction. So I'm kind of going back in time about this, but this matters. So, my ex-wife was really upset about what was going on. And I gotta be frank, man, she's not a very good person when it comes to be very upset. She loses her marbles when she's very upset. A lot of people do, okay, right? So, I mean, I'm not trying to bug on anybody as much as I'm just trying to own the reality. So, and I'm going through a lot too. A lot of my needs aren't being met. Her needs aren't being met. And I don't even know if we know what our needs are anymore. I mean, we've been out of our minds. But, yeah, so I started noticing some changes in my wife. And I was like, okay. Usually things that would bother her. Nowadays, things that would normally bother her are less bothersome. And you would think that's good, right? It's kind of like your wife's not asking you, how was your day? If she doesn't want to know how your day went, she's thinking about somebody else. So I'm looking, and I'm thinking to myself, our life is a pressure cooker. There's a lot going on here that doesn't have a lot of relief. The pressure release valve is what you would consider a normal success. I just went to the grocery store, it was no big deal. We celebrate that because it's like, that's hard. We don't want to have that. Okay. I don't know how to sell the idea. Just imagine, stress for years. Okay. Now satisfaction, not coming. Okay. And now stress met with the lack of satisfaction. And all of a sudden my spouse is not reacting like she used to. She's more calm, more accepting. Like, oh, okay, no big deal. Fuck, it used to be a big deal. How is this not a big deal this week? And forever ago, it was always a big deal. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's changed? What's changed? I mean, this is not necessarily a bad thing, but something's different. And I haven't done anything different. I'm still the same jackass, so what's going on? All right, so I watch. When I'm concerned, when I have a concern or whatever, I stay kind of quiet and I watch. And I have 1,000 eyes. I'll introduce you to a couple of them. The carpet. I'm looking at footprints in the carpet. I'm looking at things that I know were. I have a photographic memory, and I know when things are not in the same place as they used to be, okay? I'm not terribly paranoid, a little bit, but not terribly. But when things are different, I'm aware. And when if I'm aware of a difference and I can't figure out what's going on, I'm watching. And I watch from up close and I watch from far away. Okay? So I'm watching my wife, and I actually really like my wife. I don't just love her. She's not just a broodmare for me. It's my wife. I want my wife happy. I want my wife fulfilled. I want my wife to be a happy woman. And she was kind of being that way. And I was like, what? How? I mean, this is good. I don't want to stop this, but I'm kind of feeling like there's something else going on, and I'm not part of it. Don't have to be part of everything, but if you're being satisfied and like your happiness levels have gone up, I am definitely curious. I'd like to know what's going on, and I also don't want to stop it because I had nothing to do with this starting, maybe. And if I did, and I don't know it, maybe I should just keep my innocence that way. Okay, so if I'm looking at my girl and she's acting different and nothing's really changed, but she's changed and her like laughter's coming easy, the things that used to bug her weren't bugging her so much, and other stuff, I'm like, what's up? Well, it had been like 6 weeks. And I'm curious as to what's going on. So, I couldn't help but be a little afraid that she was having an affair. Not a comfortable thought. But I'm aware that this house, this place that we live in, it's also not very comfortable. I mean, we had time for intimacy, but it was, it wasn't an escape. It wasn't a diving into each other. It was like something else. It was lovemaking, but I don't know. Still working on that. But my point is, we were active. But she was definitely showing signs of satisfaction in other ways, and I asked myself, what's really important here? I mean, my pride doesn't like the idea that my wife may have a boyfriend. No, I don't like that. But, and this is where things get strange. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of my wife having another man. I like even less the idea that my wife would be unhappy in our marriage. And I know stepping out of the marriage to go find somebody else is not really in the marriage anymore. So it's like, there's some confusing things there. But if I can't make you happy and you can find yourself being happy some other place and yet you still come home to me, given the situation that we're in, and if I can't provide it and you can get I'm not saying I want it that way, but I'm saying I understand. I don't like it. And I wouldn't do that. But I understand. At the same time, that's not going to work, right? I don't want that. So, like I said about communicating, I did. And so we got together. We used to go out to this little shed or in the backyard and go smoke, and hang out. And, so I said, hey, I've noticed that lately things are, I mean, don't get me wrong, things are kind of good, but I noticed you've been different. And I eventually told her what I was thinking. I told her that I'd noticed these are good things that are happening lately. The things that are normally bothering you aren't bothering you so much. These are all the differences. And I have to ask you, do you have another man in your life? Is there someone else meeting you where I can't? It's not an easy question to ask. There's a lot on the line. But I asked. Because I wanted to know, obviously. But more importantly, I am concerned about the welfare of my loved ones and the people that I've said, I'm here for you. There's a spot I might not be able to be here for you for some reason. Is somebody else helping you there? Thankfully, I mean, at the time, I was ready for the answer I didn't want. You don't ask these questions without being ready for those answers. And she says, I told her I do mind, but just be honest and let's figure it out. Well, she tells me, she reaches out to me and holds me and starts laughing. And I'm like, what the get to the point quick, because I'm kind of on the edge here. I'm trying to be as big as I can be. Help me. So he starts laughing. She told me, she goes, Josh, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. I'm like, fucking make me right then. What's going on? I'm okay. I notice good things. And I don't want to stop them, but what's going on? And she's like, Josh, there is something going on, but it's not what you think. I'm like, help me. Do that. So she goes, I'm taking a supplement. She goes, I've been stressing out, and I don't want you to hurt, and I know I've been a pain in the butt. I know it. I'm a dizzy-ass woman right now. She's telling me, basically, she's feeling like me, but a woman. And it's like, so Josh, I'm taking a supplement, and it's called ashwagandha. I'm like, ashwagandha, what? She says ashwagandha, and then she starts looking at it. She goes, I've been doing research for a couple months. We're looking in for these kinds of things for Sean, but she's like, what about me? I'm kind of going bonkers. So what can I do for me? So ashwagandha is some kind of nettle, it's a nettle, all right? It's good for you. And apparently it does a lot for, not depression, but ashwagandha. Look it up. I don't want to talk out of school. But ashwagandha is what she was taking. And she said it, helped her with her stress levels, helped her do her thinking stuff, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, that is so much better than you getting served by another man. That is so much better. I'm actually, wow. Here I am ready to fall on the sword. And it turns out she had already done some self-regulation and checking in on herself, realized that she could be doing something better for herself. And because she was embarrassed, she hid it. She did not tell me about it. And let the things happen. And then I said what I was seeing, and I was like, look, if this is this way, I kind of like you happy. I like you happy. Fuck if you're happy without me. Fuck, but okay. So ashwagandha. Oh. Asking your spouse if they're having an affair that you would actually be kind of okay with because you get it. Then to find out that they're trying to make themselves a little better for you and for themselves. Wow. I was very relieved that day. I was very relieved. And we talked about it, and, So, a little bit about communication. And a little bit about what you can do for yourself through the lens of loving others. I don't think Nicole would have found ashwagandha. She may not have needed to find it if it were not for the situation. But the situation gave to us a lot of hardships and difficulties. But in those hardships were solutions that we were able to layer into our other parts of our lives. That, yes, this was a direct impact and effect. But there's part of the solution process for the boy was also part of the solution process for us. And I can tie that right into the fact that I eat good food for my blood type. And that is because of my boy making sure that we tailor his food for his blood type so his health would be better. And thusly, therefore, down the road, my health is better. I mean, I was smoking and drinking for 25 years. But when he started getting sick and doing all this stuff, we were like, oh, well, the situation now, I've mentioned the cost of food and blah, blah, blah. How they can sell a fully dressed burger for less than it costs, to put the things together and then sell that en masse. I mean, something's up. I don't want to get into that dirtier part of it, but what I'm saying is, by getting the food right and getting the nutrition right, everything got right. I never stop on the nutrition part. He was sick as can be. Nearly dead one time. 106 degrees in my arms. His whole body a pustule. Now we're down the road. Now we're kind of going crazy trying to figure things out. Mama goes bonkers. Get yourself some supplements called ashwagandha. Look it up. It really does work. And I've told this story to other people, other married men, and they're like, "Oh, what's going to happen?" I mean, it was real, and I sell it with the real emotion that I'll never forget, because that's facing something that's. Try it. See how you act. It's not easy, but what do you find yourself? So anyway, all of this to say that. It all comes together to some degree. There's no separating it. So stay aware. Look in on your loved ones. And don't let ego get too much in the way. Yeah. Communication. Showing up. Being brave. And recognizing that something is going different with your spouse or your loved one. Because there was a time when I needed her. And that was definitely the time when I needed her. And she was still there for me. Okay. It's a quick one. God bless.